Welcome! So if you're finding that family life is just a little bit tricky right now because one of your children is overreacting, exploding, thumping their sibling, hitting you, or just shouting, having meltdowns at the smallest provocation, or at least at minor setbacks, and you're finding that it's causing a lot of stress in the family and causing you a lot of heartache, then this video today is going to be really useful. And it might be that what's coming up for you is happening in the home, in everyday situations, like your child comes into a room and finds you playing with your other child, and that's a reason for them to be really upset and start throwing things. Or perhaps they just see their sibling and thump them, and you don't know where it's come from. Or perhaps it's about going places, and you're finding that you're not able to go out, or you're reluctant to go out because you never know when your child is going to explode, run off. You might be waiting in a queue, there might be some minor setback or frustration, and your child is having a meltdown, and it's embarrassing, And whereas at home you might feel like you're walking on eggshells around them, when you're out and about, it's just embarrassing when they're having a full-on meltdown. And you feel as if it almost reflects badly on you. I mean, I don't believe this, by the way, but these may be the thoughts that you're having. Or it may be simply that your child is reluctant to go to do the normal things like doctor, dentist, barber, and you're holding back on booking these appointments because you don't know how they're going to react. And it can be embarrassing, awkward, and also just difficult to go through with, whatever procedure needs to happen. So when these kinds of things are happening in the family, it can almost feel like one of your children is holding the whole family to hostage. And I know that if you're in this situation, it can feel very uncomfortable and you'd like to find a way out. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm Una Alexander, and I work with conscious parents like you for whom a happy home is an absolute top priority. And I show you the wise, loving, and intelligent ways to connect with your child and create a really calm and happy home so you can all get on with enjoying family life. Okay, so I think the first place to start, which may be really useful, is just to recognize that if these kinds of things are happening with your child, then it's not that they won't listen, or they won't do what you ask, or they won't kind of follow expectations. It's that they can't. They really can't. Now, okay, you can't yet. It doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be. But at the moment, they just can't. Okay? And that's why methods like rewards and punishments and thinking time and kind of time out just don't work. So that's the first piece of really good news, because if you're doing all that kind of stuff, it takes a lot of effort, doesn't it? And you really don't need to be doing that. And you also don't need to be worrying that you'll lose authority if you stop doing that kind of thing. And I'm actually here to take a stand against methods being promoted to parents that actually skew your relationship with them, as these kind of methods do, and also don't work. They may work a little bit short term, but in the long term, they don't. Because, as one of my clients once said, we're all humans, aren't we? Children are just littler humans. And so we need to learn to get on with them and connect with them and build relationships. And that's your fastest and most fulfilling route to a happy family. And so if children aren't doing it, it means they can't, not they won't. And you can assume that they have just more intense emotions over minor setbacks, and they don't know where to go with them. They just don't know where to put them, what to do with them. And also, yes, this is an important point as well. If your child has experienced negative reactions to their reactions, then that could be compounding the situation as well. Because when our children feel our disapproval, it can give situations a particular charge. And so when your child meets a kind of typical setback, there'll be not only the setback that's in front of them, but they'll be anticipating that the way they're about to respond, that they kind of feel compelled to respond, they can't help it, is going to be disapproved, or that they might be getting a negative reaction. And then that's all kind of bundled and whirled into one in a confusing kind of way and makes the situation worse. So how can you deal with this kind of situation without adding to the charge, and really help your child and show them the way to kind of process their emotions in a more healthy way? How can you do this? Okay, so we're diving in now. And the first thing that you can do, the first step, is express understanding for whatever's going on for them. So get curious, get really interested in how this whole situation, even if it seems really minor and trivial in your eyes, how it might look in their eyes. Because for sure, if they're having a reaction like that, as we've said, it's looking different to them. They're seeing it in a different light. And it's that perspective, it's that point of view that we as parents need to understand. Because when we start understanding that, the whole situation changes. And I'll give you an example here. I'm thinking of a dad who was spending a nice morning playing with one of his children, and it was the child who typically reacts more explosively. And they were having a great time playing, getting on really well on the floor together. And this dad momentarily turned away, like that, to talk to his other child. Of course, a reasonable thing to do. And his child went ballistic, the one he was playing with. And this dad was saying, I just don't understand. Why is this happening? You know, I was doing, what you've told me to do, what everybody tells me to do, spending time with my child, having connected time together. And even although I was doing all that, he wasn't able to cope with this minor setback. And what I said to him is this, that when you turned away, and if I turn away now, you may see what I mean. When you turn away, it can feel as if you're being, when you turn away, the person who's been engaging with you can feel a bit left. It's like when you're out with a friend, for example, say in a cafe, and their phone goes and then they're off talking to another friend. You can just feel a bit like left, and we as adults can cope with it. We can philosophize that, perhaps they needed to take that call and it isn't a big deal. You've got, an afternoon in front of you. But for a child, it can feel like a big deal when they're beloved, and we have to imagine that we are almost, like gods to them, when their beloved parent turns away. And so what I suggested to this dad was this: just say to him something like, oh, was it a shock when I turned away to talk to your sister? And when we express understanding in this way, this can totally change the situation, because your child feels seen then. Instead of feeling disapproved of, as they might have once felt, they feel understood, which is a totally different feeling and helps us soften and relax, and takes the heat out of the situation. So number one is express understanding. Number two is this: create safety. So this is about taking action, because actions speak louder than words. So it might be that if there's been an incident in the park or at a gathering or something, that you just go straight home. And I'm not talking about really minor little things, but supposing as can happen, your child throws a stone or pushes someone off a piece of equipment or something like that, I would just very quietly and, with kindness, without drama, without making a point, without threats or anything, just go home. Or and if situations like this are happening repeatedly, it might be in a certain context, certain type of place that you go or whatever. Maybe you don't go there. Not just maybe. I would recommend not going there for a while, because actions speak louder than words. And you don't need to make a big point of it. The main thing about creating safety in this way is that it's not punitive. It's really important, in fact, that there isn't even a hint of punishment around this. It is about creating safety. And so it might be that if your child has, thrown a toy, used it as a missile, you just take it and just say, I'm going to keep everyone safe, all right? And put it away somewhere for a while. For a good while. I don't mean a couple of minutes, I mean for a few days. Without making a big thing. And this, your child will get a really strong message that you care without feeling disapproved of. And this is so powerful and will give them food for thought in a positive way that thinking time doesn't, okay? So what's number 3? So number 3 is, yes, offer them another, safer way to express their anger. So I was working with a mum once who offered her child yoga blocks to throw out of the back door. Or it could be that you do some stamping together or some thumping of a cushion or the sofa. It might be that you join in and join in the energy of it. Obviously, you're not going to join in with real anger. You might join in with a bit of kind of acted anger that you might be able to, if you're good at this kind of thing, you might be able to move it over into humor, because that can really work. You ride on the emotion, and as you ride on it, you help your child transform it into something lighter. And the message here is that it's okay to be angry. You're not just saying it's okay to be angry, but you're giving them a channel for that anger that is safe and legitimate. And this can help too. So the 3 steps are: express understanding, create safety, and offer them another safer way to express their anger. And if I had to say which of all of these 3 is the most important, I would say number 1, expressing understanding. Because in order to express understanding, we need to have understanding. And having understanding for our children and why they're reacting in these ways is about the most important step we can take. Because when we have understanding, we soften, we feel different, we expand in our awareness, and we are more able to include them. And this changes everything. So having understanding changes everything. And here you may be thinking, well, it's all very well having understanding that, I get it that having understanding is a really good idea, but I simply don't understand why my child is reacting like this. And if that's you, you're feeling just like that dad, who was playing on the floor with his child. If you're feeling like him, totally kind of perplexed as to why this is happening, why your child's, his or her reactions are so strong, then let's talk, let's have a conversation. Because I have a superpower, which is that if you tell me the situations that are coming up with your child, I will be able to help you understand why that's coming up for your child in that way, and help you understand their point of view, their take on it, what they're feeling, what's going on in their mind and what's going on in their heart. And this can make a lot of difference for you when you have that type of information. And these calls are totally free. They're called Happier Way Forward sessions. I invite you to book one for yourself. We're halfway through the month, and I always open up a few of these calls every single month, so there are still definitely some calls that can be booked. and they are bookable on this link, unaalexander.co.uk/let's talk, I should say, let's hyphen talk. And let's has no apostrophe, I was going to say. And if you missed that, you can just go to my website and click on the Let's Talk tab and book in your conversation. As I said, they're totally free of charge. You can choose a time that suits you, and we'll get on a call, on a video call, and for 45 minutes, and we'll talk everything through, and I'll be able to lift the veil for you on what's happening for your child, what's going on for them. And many parents find that even just after a conversation like this, things change. It's as if the clouds part. Their children settle down and they feel better. They feel understood, and they feel like they have more understanding for their children. So if you would like a call like this, go there now, get yourself booked in. I'll put the link in the comments below as well. So lots of love to you. Hope this has been helpful. Bye.